this party rocking.
No major injuries then. Good.
Ooh, more voice acting. I like it.
I briefed the recovered soldiers and sent them on their way as quickly as I could, but nevertheless feared they would not make it in time.
Well, you know, for Sparta, for glory.
The additional support was invaluable. Your men saved more than a few lives.
The bromance that's brewing.
Though not all, I regret to say.
Yeah, but you can't get hung up on that. It's the friggin' apocalypse. You definitely can't save everyone.
I take it that I'm addressing Lucia Junius. I'm the Forum's envoy, Fortuneau Leveilleur. And you are owed an explanation for these most dire developments.
Actually, I should be the one to give that explanation. Given that I have the answers.
Another trial wrought by the final days. I was beginning to suspect as much.
What gave it away?
You doubtless feel some consternation having been forced to abandon your original plan. But trust me when I say you were right to send the refugees elsewhere. Beasts have been sighted within the capital. Perhaps it was a stroke of grim fortune that the population was decimated beforehand, as they've yet to appear in any great number, but in time.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's a statement.
In any case, Maxima leads the remainder of the contingent in an effort to cull the creatures and evacuate the populace as we speak. Once the airships have taken to the skies, I pray your men can be persuaded to join him.
Yeah, everybody's got to get out of here.
You'll permit us to retain our weapons?
Buddy.
I wouldn't have sent you after the Scions were I expecting you to stab them in the back.
It's the apocalypse.
And I, for one, would not consider past transgressions more relevant than future contributions. Regardless of the circumstances that saw us at odds before, we need men of courage now, more than ever.
Like, literally. World peace at the end of the world. That's what we get to look forward to, folks. See, I gave him a wink. You see that?
We swore to defend Garlemald, and so we shall.
There you go. There's that national pride. Put to good use.
It seems you have everything under control. You will excuse me then, for mine own duties await.
You're
A
out.
moment, Master Fortuneau.
Okay.
You did desire to express your appreciation for services rendered, did you not?
I did. Though if you intend to again ask that Charlian alter its course, you will find my gratitude insufficient.
Jeez.
'Tis nothing so onerous. I wish to hear the details of this grand endeavor of yours.
Do you swear to listen and to learn, and not to embark upon some scheme to impede us?
Buddy, we need to do something.
I swear.
The Loperids are gonna be okay.
Any other I would doubt, but you I trust to keep your word. For not once have you broken it.
And yet you treat your son like garbage.
Very well. I will request that the Forum make you privy to our plans. You may await our summons at the Baldessian Annex, assuming the decision is in your favor. Does that suffice?
It does. You have my thanks.
Are you kidding? I have the answers to the apocalypse and you're...
You can regale us with tales of your most recent sojourn to the First while we wait.
Wow. The balls on that guy. They clang. Oh, Catboy hears something.
Did you hear something just now?
Yeah. What? A Loporitz? That's disconcerting.
Where is this star's blasted pudding?
Easy there, Beirut. Calm down. The cavalry? Is that what you would call a group of Loporits? The Warren, perhaps?
Dawn may banish even the darkest night, and to this bitter clime bring warmth and comfort.
What a guy. Still don't like the way you talk, but that was a nice moment.
'Tis heartening to see such an assembly upon my return. I thought often of you whilst I looked down upon our star's brilliance from the moon above.
Yes, but what are you doing here? And dressed like that? Aren't you cold?
He ate the warming carrot.
Verily, I fear for my health should I proceed to expound upon our purpose ere I procure more suitable garments.
Then allow me to summarize. We're here because none of you lot are up there. Nor has anyone deigned to send word about any changes in the plans.
Wow.
It's rude, is what it is. At least that's what I thought at first, but then folks got to wondering if you weren't in a spot of bother, so we decided to take matters into our own hands. Come down here and help, if our help be needed.
I want to see these Loporits
So
kick
she
ass.
says, but it's also something of a convenient excuse to visit Atheris. Urianger made it sound absolutely marvelous. More so before the impending doom, but still. And it's not like there will ever be a better time. What with the aforementioned doom?
Wow.
Marvellous, they say, yet not an ounce of pudding to be found. I must suffer Urianger's inferior works no more.
Hey! Maybe consider the plight of present company before you go blathering on about pudding and doom? Ahem. As I was saying, should you require any assistance with whatever, we are at your disposal.
I want to see them
We were
massacre.
born from Heidelin's love for the lives of this star, so naturally we would much prefer to see them continue. Twiddling our thumbs up on the moon is hardly conducive to that, though, is it?
I want to see them massacre these creatures.
Not when you've all got such precious thoughts and feelings and hopes for the future deserving of more active preservation. Speaking to Urianger made us realize that while we've carried out our duties to the letter, we've failed to fulfill them in spirit. From there, it was just a hop, skip, and a jump towards resolving to do better. So please, show us how. Help us help you.
Rightfully so.
Forgive me, but are they...
Loporits? You should know!
Thy distant collaborators, indeed.
Wow. You didn't even
Hail,
know?
fellow. Well met. You'd be a member of the Forum, would you? It's an honor and a pleasure to meet you at last. I'm Livingway, Heidelin's right paw. That last bit is very important. As am I, if I may humbly say so myself.
Wow.
I bid you welcome to our star, Livingway. On behalf of the Forum, I thank you for traveling such a distance to meet us. As you have surmised, preparations for the Exodus have not proceeded as smoothly as we had hoped. I should be happy to personally escort you to our headquarters in Charlian, where you may advise us as you deem fit.
'Twas with reluctance that I set aside the great work of readying the moon for habitation. Be assured that I did so only after the Loperites made plain their earnest desire to come hither, and I myself felt a growing certainty that their contributions here would prove invaluable.
I want to see it. I want to see them fight.
'Tis trite, perhaps, but I followed my heart.
Oh, good on you, buddy. Good to have you back. That's the right answer.
For a time, at least. Nevertheless, 'twas worth the journey to find present company well.
It was dicey for a second.
Will thou
there.
attend us at the forum and lend thine own wisdom?
Oh my god.
If that's all quite settled, can we start moving before Urianger catches his death? Even I'm freezing out here.
Oh, I dare say you'll warm up quickly once you're aboard the airship. Sat shoulder to shoulder with our fur-covered friends.
No kidding. And I'm pretty sure the implication is that there's an army of them. That's why I say I want to see them massacre the obscenities. Is that what they were called? Oh, cool. We got an instant teleportation. I'll take it. Alright. What do we got, Urianger? I dare say Master Fortuner was as nonplussed as we to learn the identity of Heidelin's lunar custodians. As he will soon discover, they have much and more to offer the Forum. Might I suggest we return henceforth to the Annex forthwith? We may yet have time to discuss thy recent adventures ere we are summoned to the Wolfstraw. And I still can't get on a mount. So, yes, we are. Then we're going to take the Aethernet to the Rolfstra. And what's with all these red? Is that? Oh, that's the leaves. Okay. I'm tracking. The Baldessian Annex. Oh, is that a sticker of mine? Alright. We're gonna just cruise along because it's nearing bedtime and I want at least one more quest out of this. I bet we're gonna get a couple cutscenes, so I'm hoping to get at least through these cutscenes and one more quest. Assuming this is voice acted anyway. Not that I'm complaining, Urianger, but I wasn't expecting to see you quite so soon. Nor I thee. In extolling the virtues of Aetheris, I did inadvertently awaken in Loperites a desire to avert our beloved star's demise. Kryl tells us you have obtained new knowledge that may aid us in our ongoing efforts. I have news to share regarding our study of the Ethereal Sea, but your findings are certain to be of greater interest, and so I would rather hear them first. To what revelations did Heidelin's Elpis flower lead? All of them. Basically, Fandaniel was a nihilist to begin with. Towards the end. I mean, obviously he cares about people, but, you know, he let that go to his head. And, yeah, that went south pretty quick. Then this dynamis is what drives the final days. If it and Akasha are one and the same, then this all but proves Nadana's theory. Were an entity through sheer force of emotion to channel this vast dormant reservoir into a raging river, its power might surpass even that of Aether. Exactly. But if our star is so replete with Aether, said entity would need to be outside its influence to effectively manipulate the dynamis of the great expanse. Incorrect, because we are shards. So the density of Aether is nowhere close to what it once was, which is why The second Zodiark disappeared, this ship began all over again. Meteon. Or rather, the sorrow and suffering of fallen civilizations that she has been hoarding for millennia. Untold anguish and fear and hatred drawn from every corner of the universe, all for a single purpose, the destruction of Aetheres. Then our foe is no longer some unknowable calamity. We have but one aim, to defeat Meteon. Oh, Estinian. You make it sound so simple, but you're not wrong. Vanquish Meteon and we deliver the world from the final days. But to even attempt it, there are two conditions. First, we must determine her location. Before Meteon escaped, an enchantment was placed upon her by Vana, the woman who would become Hydaelyn. The implications of temporal magics are not entirely understood, and so we cannot assume that our Hydaelyn and the Vana you met in Elpis are one and the same. Nevertheless, due to her intrinsic qualities as an all-powerful being, I'd wager that Hydaelyn possesses the knowledge we seek. Whether she would share that knowledge with us, however, remains to be seen. After all, she intends for us to flee Aetheres, not to stay. Aetheres. Do you suppose she has abandoned her pursuit of Meteon? The Vana I know would never give up. That's my impression too, otherwise she wouldn't have used me as a conduit for her will, or provided clues such as the Elpis flower. I believe she has been waiting for mankind's answer to Hermes' question. It's a pretty big question and a long ask. So what's the second condition? We must find a means to reach Meteon. Naturally, our chosen method would depend entirely upon wheresoever she has made her nest. The center of the earth. Then communing with Hydaelyn must by necessity come first. Did you and Master Matoya have any luck with your investigation into the Ethereal Sea? Sadly not. Though we enlisted the help of Ironvald and other Echo-blessed allies, we couldn't detect so much as a whisper from Hydaelyn, even from within the Anti-Tower. Master Matoya is of the opinion that in the years since abandoning it, the Forum has found some other method of receiving instructions from Hydaelyn. If so, it would most likely be some form of apparatus for observing the Ethereal Sea, built closer to home. Speaking of... Sorry to interrupt, we've just received word from the Forum. Your presence is required in the Rostra, where they intend to discuss the Great Exodus. Then Father was able to persuade them. They're finally taking us seriously. Let's hear what they have to say. Alright. Let's get that bread. Yep. Alright. I have a feeling this is going to be some good... Oh, wait, I better mend my armor. Oh, only 9% damage. It's a lot less than I was expecting. But I also haven't been dying like I usually do, so that tends to help. The Rostra. Alright. Rostra Steward. Atheles. The Forum is in session, and as such, the Rostra is closed to visitors. A scion of the 7th Dawn? Very well, you may wait in the corridor. Of course, entry will only be permitted on the condition you leave your armaments at the door, lest you forget this sacred institution holds rational discourse in the highest. The implements of war are expressly forbidden. Well, can I change into my Asian clothes then? I gotta be on fleek, yo. Well, we're gonna use that, but... Soul... what's that? Modern vocation. Okay. Alright. Let's see what happens. Oh, this is the chamber. A spirally chamber at that. Alright, there we are. Destiny awaits. The end draws nigh. The future of mankind and the sundered star awaiteth this very historic moment. Damn, that filled up quick. It's the old man. Alright, Forchano Leveilleur. And your weird antagonist-looking friend. Your disowned children. And me.
There is a matter I wish to raise with you before we enter.
Bet. Oh, sorry.
We are here to listen and to learn. But if the Forum's plans are more or less what I expect, then I should like to make a proposal that will serve our ends.
Go for it.
By your leave, of course.
Knock your socks off, Alpha, now.
I don't see why not. Your words and wits have gotten us this far.
And my axe.
Agreed. I will present our queries so that you may consider the most advantageous way to advance your proposal without distraction.
Thank you, everyone.
I don't know what that meant.
If I may have your attention, the ad hoc session will now commence.
At this.
The purpose of today's assembly is to brief the Scions of the Seventh Dawn at their request on the Great Exodus.
Indeed.
You may enter.
Bonnier. The cat suit, though. Really? That gets me every time. Everybody else is dressed in whatever. We're all in our own little outfit, and then you got the cat girl cosplay girl. Yeah.
On behalf of the Forum, I commend your heroic actions on the Magna Glaciers. We shall not soon forget your service to us and the people of Radzat Han.
However,
the Satrap, whom we have informed of the refugees' new arrangements, sings your praises as well. As an expression of our gratitude, we will endeavor to answer your questions as fully and openly as we are able.
all right. Let's see it.
Then let us begin. First, it is the Forum's objective to ferry the life and knowledge of this star to the moon. Am I correct?
You are. It is for this purpose that Charlian has labored these many long years. We have collected biological samples and scientific records from across the star. When the time comes, they will be moved from their places in Labyrinthos and Numenon and conveyed to safety.
Okay.
Once that critical task has been accomplished, we will begin transporting the Charlian citizenry, which has been categorized into groups. The earliest arrivals are to ensure hospitable environs for those who come after.
We're doing the same thing,
Following our people,
just so you know.
we will send those of other nations in turn, beginning with our allies. Radzat Han was foremost among these, but since the final days have already come to Thavnair, we saw fit to include the refugees with earlier groupings.
An ambitious plan. You have accounted for the safety of all nations and tribes, then?
As many as we can.
The
And
beast.
how, pray tell, do you decide who to leave behind?
I think they left the beast tribes behind.
To journey beyond the sky is an unprecedented and immeasurably difficult endeavor. Introducing sources of inevitable conflict would condemn all to certain death.
Genocide, baby! And racism. Literal, actual,
Questions
figurative.
as to the
racism.
validity of that approach aside, are your plans proceeding apace? We're under the impression that your primary means of celestial transportation is incomplete.
She hit the nail on the head. Genocide notwithstanding, are you guys at least succeeding?
If only in that it does not meet our optimal parameters, that is correct. This Ark, as some have taken to calling it, is fully operational and could be launched even today. However, the final days have progressed more quickly than we anticipated. At present, the ship is incapable of attaining speeds sufficient to meet our evacuation targets. Should we put the vessel into service, as it is now, we will be unable to travel to the moon and back quickly enough to complete the necessary number of trips. Precious lives and knowledge will be lost.
Including the genocide, or excluding the genocide.
Hells. Is there anything to be done?
Where's Master Sid?
The ether burner, the primary means of propulsion once the craft is in the space between stars, is undergoing testing to determine whether it can be made more efficient.
The ether burner? The
Though
thing
cargo
that
is
gives
being
life.
loaded for the initial phase of the Exodus, we are prepared to continue our experimentation up to the day before launch, should it prove necessary.
They're literally using souls. And I thought fossil fuel was bad.
What if the Scions were to solve your problem?
Alright, Alphino.
We shall help devise a means to improve the ether burner's efficiency, on 2 conditions.
First.
If we succeed, you must allow us to meet with Hydaelyn.
"'Twas simple enough to deduce. You have a Concord, and so you would never have abandoned the anti-tower had you no other means of communication. One far more convenient, I suspect.
A clone. A shard.
The second condition, also to be met upon our success, is that we be permitted to propose another use for your Ark.
We would be at liberty to refuse this proposal.
Of course. If we cannot prove its merit to the 99 here, who are we to stake on it the lives of all peoples of this star?
Ambitious. I love it.
Delightful as always, Master Alphino. Oh, we couldn't have asked for a finer plan. Allow us to solve this complex engineering problem of which we were entirely unaware until moments ago. What could possibly go wrong? The satire writes itself.
But we got Sid. That's why we can actually pull it off.
Yet, what field has not benefited from a change in perspective? When we are at wit's end, what we need is not the same dry theories recited ad nauseam, but fresh inspiration.
There it is.
I, for one, have faith in my erstwhile students to provide it, and I find their terms to be perfectly acceptable.
Comrade Monteshane.
Order! Order! We have no time to waste on debate. I call a vote. All in favor of agreeing to the Scion's terms?
There it is. Alphino 2024. He can't go by Leveleur 2024, so it's just Alphino.
71 in favor, 28 against. The ayes have it.
Woo.
Fortuneau, as the architect of this project, you are the best candidate to show them its current state. And bear in mind that regardless of your personal misgivings, this is the will of the Forum.
And you will respect the will of the Forum.
Very well.
I call this session to a close. Return to your tasks with urgency. The final days wait for none.
You should have said the final days are upon us. Come on! That was like the perfect time to give the perfect statement of badassery. And you just dropped the ball. And there it is, rolling away. Too late now. Alright. While I very much take issue with the Forum's approach to selecting whom to save and when, they're not wrong for wanting to minimize potential conflicts. Fortunately, if this plan of ours actually works, the Great Exodus itself will become entirely unnecessary. Phew, I'll admit, bringing up the issue of the Forum's incomplete arc was more than a little daunting. They were, to their credit, quite open about the current state of affairs. What was even more surprising, though, was when they took Alphino up on his offer. True. I'm a little vexed that we've yet to learn of the Forum's replacement for the Anti-Tower, though. I expect that in time they'll share that too with us, and with Master Matoya, if they've any sense. The further we pursue the mysteries of the universe, the more I struggle to comprehend the fortuitous nature of time itself. We measure and quantify it based on observations of celestial bodies, such as the sun and moon, but from your account it is unclear whether the ancients viewed time in a similar manner. I mention this because while Vanan knew the final days would recur at a defined point in the future, she presumably had no way of knowing exactly when. Even so, the completion of the Forum's preparations to escape to the moon, aligning so closely with the advent of the final days, is surely no coincidence. They were also immortal, and chose when to live and when to die, and presumably when to resurrect? Not resurrect. Reincarnate. Perhaps if Midgar Summer were still alive, in the traditional sense, that is, he could have offered to help the vessel attain the necessary speeds. Then again, there's no guarantee his contribution would make enough of a difference to matter. I mean, that's a statement. Midgar Summer was the father of all dragons in this universe, so he's saying that he could carry or push the vessel unto itself? That'd be pretty nuts. Of late, I have seen no signs of the Loparids. This being their first opportunity to experience the wonders of Charlayan, the potential for misadventure is nigh infinite. My affinity for espionage may have earned me the title of Archon, but I was completely unaware of the Forum's plans. There may have been clues here and there had I been of a mind to look for them, but contemplating that possibility only serves to further wound my pride. Not that anyone could have realistically surmised that their brilliant stratagem was to build a giant ship, fly to the moon, a still larger vessel than Truth, and use that to travel to another star. Even now, the whole idea seems positively absurd when spoken aloud. Indeed. Rest assured, I have every intention of honoring the Forum's decision. Sorry about not letting the rest of you in on my plan. I was, admittedly, thinking on my feet for the most part. But since we require both the means of communing with Eidolon and reaching Metian, in the spur of the moment, I saw involving ourselves with the completion of the Ark as a way to work towards both objectives simultaneously. However, we must first keep our end of the bargain by solving the problem of the Aether Burner. I'd like to think it is not a challenge beyond our combined expertise, or at least the expertise of our extended circle of associates. It might behoove us to learn how an Aether Burner actually works before we attempt to improve it, though. Indeed, the Aether Burner, which burns life essence. I cannot stress this enough.